Welcome, guys, to the DM show, your favorite relationship show. And today's episode is really exciting. We're going to discuss how every guy can avoid rejection. So, how to avoid rejection. This is the guys' edition. Okay, before we go ahead to talk about that, first of all, you need to know that the DM show is basically a show that discusses a lot of relationship issues and challenges that people face. And if you have any questions, challenges, anything you need help with in relating to your love relationship, relating to your marriage or something, you could. Mostly relationships though, because marriage is sometimes it's a bit complex, but mostly relationships. Feel free to talk to us, feel free to message us. Our handles are on the screen. You can follow. I don't know where they will be, but you can follow and we'll be available to assist you. Okay, so let's jump right into the most important aspect of today's show, and we're going to jump straight into it. So it's usually very important to take note of some of these things for most guys, because you don't assume that every lady you like is instantly going to say yes to you, and sometimes they do have valid reasons. You don't need to take offense or be pissed off because they turned you down. You just need to accept that that's their decision, respect that, and then move ahead. So here are a few ways that personally I think that can help you either avoid getting rejected for those who are genuinely looking for a relationship, and also ways that you can be able to either minimize the number of times you get rejected. So the first thing, and the first most important thing for me, is the fact that you need to be quick to know the type of woman you're dealing with before asking her out. You should understand that there are some ladies that would prefer to get to know a guy for a while before they decide. There are some ladies that are more outgoing, probably a sanguine kind of lady who is more outgoing and easy to have a chat with, so it's easy to ask her out. Also, we need to understand that there are some people that are generally friendly, and maybe she treats you the same way as she treats other guys. So just be a bit mindful of the type of person. Be quick to observe her, know what type of lady she is. There are some ladies though, when you meet, they have that eye for just paying close attention to people. So you just need to know the kind of person you're dealing with, and then you can go ahead and decide for yourself whether to ask her, because that way you would know whether to go ahead to ask her out or not. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to sometimes you just need to give it time. You understand? Sometimes depending on your conversation with the lady, you would know whether you're making headway or not, and sometimes you'd have a vibe that things are not going well. Don't disregard that vibe. Go ahead and ask her out, and then when she says she's not ready, you feel like she's been mean to you or something. Just pay attention to that vibe. If she's not into it, just don't push it. Give it time. Maybe some ladies will prefer that you get to know them for some time first, and then you go ahead to ask them out, and then most likely things will work out. So sometimes just give it a little more time. The next thing is to know that desperation attracts rejection. Oftentimes, if you come across as very desperate to a lady, the tendency of getting rejected might be high, because she might be a little bit unsure why you're so desperate to be with her. And even though if she likes you, she might feel like there's something going on. Probably you just looking to get something out of her, and then you're done with her. So just be mindful of that fact. And then the fourth thing you need to be conscious about is the fact that you need to check yourself out before, or check yourself before asking the lady out. You know, if you need to know the type of lady who appreciates somebody like you. You know, you need to level up if you want somebody up the food chain. So, excuse me to say, but you don't expect somebody who's probably a widely traveled person, highly educated person, or probably somebody who is really into cooking or really into fashion, for instance, to fall in love with, or not fall in love per se, but easily say a yes to you, who probably only cares about maybe football, or probably cares about, probably just you don't really pay any attention to the way you dress or your outfits or anything. I'm not saying it's not possible, it does happen, but most often you should be able to prepare yourself, to suit the kind of lady that you want, or the kind of lady you want to accept you. Because for instance, the ladies are really good at doing that on Instagram. They put their best pictures on there, and then when you see that, you go like, oh, that's cool, that's really the kind of girl I like. So if ladies can do it with Instagram, you can do that in your real life as well. All right, the next thing is to be truthful, but not all at once. Put your best foot forward, and then, like I rightly mentioned earlier, like with the example of Instagram, you understand. I'm not saying don't be truthful. I'm saying that be truthful, but take your time in opening up to it. For instance, if you had a really, really good job and you've recently been kicked out of your job place and you feel like you're still up for a relationship, you don't start first with the fact that maybe you're unemployed and all that first. Let her get to know you first, like you first, and then subsequently you can tell her about the fact that this is where you were and this is where you've gotten to, and if she genuinely loves you, she's probably going to still stick with you. So just know how to moderate the way you go about feeding her all the information. For instance, you don't somebody you've just met like in a day and started talking, you just don't go on and on and on about, for instance, talking about how much you hated being with your ex, or how much you miss your ex, for instance. It might throw her off and then definitely get rejected. The sixth thing is to approach with a genuine and clear objective. I don't have much to say about this, but unless of course you're looking to play a girl or just looking to get to bed with her, if you're looking for a genuine relationship, just be clear in your objective. Don't go trying to be somebody you are not. Just be true to yourself. 7 is to understand that no one approach works for all ladies. So you need to be able to vary your approach. Some ladies will prefer asking her out on a lovely date out, they have a chat, and then after that you can decide for yourself. Some ladies don't even mind, a chat over phone, and they're totally cool. So just be mindful of that. Not one approach will work for every kind of lady. And also that ties into their personality. There are some people that might come across as very, very reserved or very, very outspoken, but you'd realize that if you get close to them, they genuinely want affection, genuinely want somebody who cares or somebody who understands them. So one approach doesn't work for every lady. Not every lady will appreciate a guy being so maybe upfront or being overconfident. So just understand that. Number 8 is to use the events or circumstances in her life to help you decide whether to ask her out or not. Because for instance, if somebody has just lost a parent or just lost a family member or a close friend, she might not be in the right state of mind to agree to be in a relationship, and you need to be respectful of that fact. You need to understand that fact and give her that respect. So be mindful of the circumstances in her life. For instance, if she's in a very critical moment in her career, maybe taking a very important test or maybe something really important, that might not be the right time to ask her out. So be mindful of that, and hopefully you wouldn't get rejected. And the 9th thing is to test for mutual feelings. You understand? So you need to be certain about the feelings that both of you have for each other. You understand? You need to be sure that the vibe is working both ways. So for instance, if you text her often, I know most often it's the ladies that do a lot of texting, but if you happen to chat with her regularly, let's say every day, there are some days just let her miss you. Hold back for a while, and then let's see how everything goes. So those are some of the things that you need to know. And then the last but not the least is that sometimes don't take no for an answer. Because I came across a really interesting thing online. I'll put it up here somewhere. But that said that guys tend to fall in love in about 3 days, and then it takes girls about 14 days to fall in love, something of the sort. But sometimes just don't take no for an answer. They may not be sure what they wanted initially, but if you give it time, and then if you genuinely still love them, probably it might come around and things would work out. So that's what I need to say. So the last thing I would say is that some of these things do apply to both sides of the coin and apply to ladies as well. So for instance, taking the mutual feelings test, sometimes it applies to ladies as well. So try and know that the feelings are mutual from both ends. Right, so those are my top 10 guides as to how to get avoid rejection for guys. So first is to be quick to know the type of woman she is before asking her out. Second, sometimes you need to give it time. Let her get to know you a little more. 4, know that if you're desperate, you're likely to get rejected. That's 3, sorry. And then 4, check yourself before asking her out. You need to know the type of lady who will appreciate you. Number 5, be truthful, but not all at once. Number 6, approach with a genuine and clear objective. 7, one approach doesn't work for all ladies. 8, use events or circumstances in her life to help you decide whether to ask her out or not. 9, take a mutual feelings test. Be sure that the feelings are mutual. 10, sometimes don't take no for an answer. So that brings us to an end of today's episode. Thank you so much for sticking around. Please do well to leave a like, do well to subscribe, do well to follow us on Instagram. Really, really important.